On KOCHIE's Business Builders, how to retain staff so your business reaps the rewards. Also, exporting to China. The founder of a baby skincare business tells us how to do it. Plus, a group of Perth blokes that built a work boot empire. Hello and welcome to KOCHIE's Business Builders. Are you finding it hard to find the right staff and then also keep them? It's a challenge facing a lot of industries, including hospitality. But what if I told you there is a way to retain staff? This week, we caught up with the owner of a bar who's willing to give just about anything a try. Grant Collins is most comfortable shaking, rattling and rolling behind the bar. This skilled mixologist is the owner of Gin Lane, a new small bar in Sydney. But he wants his employees to have just as much passion as he does. Staff retention expert Andrea Culligan has come along to try Grant's creations and also offer some advice.
I've been told that you give a great, amazing experience around your cocktail making.
We try.
Would you mind making me two of your favourite drinks?
Cool. Well, I think to start off with, we'll go for a classic martini.
Why did you decide a gin bar when, considering gin now, you know, the last couple of years is really this booming trend? Could you see that? Was that a forecast that you had in mind, or did you just always have a personal passion around it?
Yeah, well, I suppose as a consultant, you do your research, and it's all about what the market is looking for, and also this area.
Yeah.
As well. Being English, I've got a soft spot for gin, I must admit. A bit of mother's ruin. But the first time I actually walked into this venue, I just thought of a gin palace.
Now, the experience I received from you is fantastic, but do you think that that experience is consistent in your venue?
We actually have a secret shopper program, so we get people to come in pretty well every 2 weeks. They come in undercover and don't announce themselves, and they just indulge themselves in the experience. We get reports and we share them into the training. It's really, really important. So when we're doing training with our staff, we've got real feedback from real guests.
How do you ensure that your staff are keeping that experience consistent every, Monday through Sunday?
Sure. So really, with the new staff, we put them through quite an intensive training. So before they can work a shift on their own, they get something called Gin School. So they learn 5 classics, 5 signatures and 5 gins. They spend a bit of time at the bar, they do shadow training on the floor.
You've started to really focus on training and development. You've got this amazing experience. You told me you've got customers rolling out the door on a Saturday night. What are the challenges that you're facing and how can I help?
It took me a lot of time to get used to working in the Australian sort of hospitality culture, coming from the UK. In London, there was career bartenders who just wanted to be a bartender.
First and foremost, you are in a really high turnover environment. These industries, call centers, front of house, hospitality, retail, they're very high turnover environments. However, if we look at the bar scene, as you've already alluded to, it is changing, it is shifting. So it is so important. And the primary reason is if we see the most successful venues in Australia, which you will know intimately by name, and I won't talk to them now, but they all have a consistent experience. Every venue you go into, if they own 10, 1, 30, around the world, locally, whatever it might be, even if the food is different, the experience is different, the atmosphere is different, the experience is the same. And that customer centricity is directly aligned to employee engagement. A lot of people think, oh, if I treat my employees well, then they'll just be happy. But actually, it's so much greater than that. If we look at high levels of employee engagement, it almost always refers to a 22% increase in productivity. Now, if we have more productive staff, then we have a much greater customer experience. The other thing is, if we have a highly engaged team, the stats show us that on average, you receive a 3% increase in profit the subsequent year. That doesn't mean cost cutting or, chopping out headcount. That is purely related to profit in the business.
Some interesting advice there. By keeping your staff constantly engaged, you'll reap the rewards. Coming up, find out what else Grant can do to retain staff in a notoriously choppy industry. Did you know business conditions for small business continue to sit at their highest level since the GFC? According to NAB's quarterly SME report, conditions remain unchanged in the first 3 months of the year at a reading of 12. On the flip side, confidence among SMEs has declined slightly over the quarter, but still at an above-average level, down 2 points to 6. Across the different industries, health reported the strongest conditions, while retail continues to be the weaker sector. Big falls were also recorded in property service conditions, likely reflecting a cooling in the housing market. State by state and SME business conditions were strongest in Victoria and weakest in WA, although there was some improvement there. Economists have also expressed some concerns about South Australia after conditions came in negative for the first time since 2016, but it was the lead-up to their state election. Some of the biggest pressures being the ability to find suitable labour, although wages are not reflecting that yet.
Hi, I'm PIPPA Buxton, owner of Little Earth Nest, which is an eco-store for families I've been growing since 2006. After 12 years in business, we're excited to be supporting KOCHIE's Business Builders campaign for optimism, because there's never been a better time to be in business.
Welcome back to KOCHIE's Business Builders. Today we're talking about staff retention. The hospitality industry is notorious for having high turnover, but the owner of a bar in Sydney wants to change that. So he's trying to find new ways to look after his staff to keep them coming back.
So what do you see as some of those challenges that you have around keeping those team members then?
There's so many bars in Sydney now. So, you know, hospitality mentality sometimes is the grass is always green on the other side. But obviously I've got experience working around the world and around Australia in other bars. And we really try and look after our staff here. We do a lot of social activities. But we also try and make it pretty clear that, you know, we do have the best training here. If you were to leave to go to another bar, necessarily you're not going to get the training. And it works. We have a lot of working holiday visas who go off travelling Australia and then they come back to us again. So we must be doing something right there.
They're literally called boomerangs. So people that go and come back.
We've got a few boomerangs, but yeah, it's quite a different mentality here with the Australian sort of hospitality scene. There's not so many career bartenders, waiters or managers at all.
You've talked to me a lot about customer experience and how important it is to you. If you have that consistency and your employees are happy and they love working here and they stay here, then that customer retention, that customer experience will only increase. And not only that, Grant, it'll start to take the pressure off of you.
So is there any tips on any of the ways I can sort of help engage my staff to share my vision?
Yeah, look, first of all, have some clear values or behaviors that you have that are clear about how you operate in this organization. And sometimes behaviors are easier to talk to than values in a bar situation. You know, there might be some, you know, cynicism around values, but behaviors actually are a very understood trait. So if we look at the 4 key things around retention, the first one is recognition. It's the biggest piece of the puzzle. So how am I recognizing my team? Or if you want to look at it another way, how am I inspiring my team to really live the behaviors that I want for a consistent customer experience? The second one is learning and development. So you got the gin school pretty dialed in, so you're kind of ticking the box there. But again, how are you going to train on customer experience? And, you know, do the role plays, have people walk in the door. What does that look like? What does that feel like? And then relay that back through your secret shopper. By the way, if you ever have an opening for the secret shopper, let me know. The third one is quality, which again, you've got dialed in. So quality of brand is so important to this particular environment and this particular industry. How do we make sure that it is, you know, a quality experience every time we walk through? But the fourth one is the really most important one around being a human, which is just respect and ensuring that there's an equal and dual respect for us as humans. And, you know, people don't buy from anything other than people. We all buy from humans. And the more human the experience, the more approachable the experience, the more easy the experience can be for the customer and for the employee, then the greater the success you'll have for both customer retention as well as employee retention.
Some really good advice there from Andrea. The key to retaining staff: recognition, learning development, quality and respect. I think that's something we can do in all of our businesses. Now to our Pillars of Success segment, helping you build solid foundations. Business Growth Advisor Anna Samios is this week talking strategy.
This week's Pillar of Success is to know your core customer. They're the who in your business, a real individual with a unique identity and set of needs, wants and desires. The more you can bring your core customer to life, the more crisp and focused your customer experience will be. So, how do you decide who your core customer is? Well, your core customer buys your product or services at the best price point, one that generates you a profit. They have specific reasons, emotions and interests in your product or service. They pay on time. Remember, revenue is vanity, profit is sanity and cash is king. A customer may be pleasant to deal with, but if they don't have the cash to pay you on time every time, you need to offer your product or services to people who will. Your core customer is also someone who's great to deal with and who refers new customers your way. And finally, they have a unique online identity that can be appealed to via digital platforms. Knowing precisely who your core customer is a great place to start. Placing your core customer at the centre of your universe is your strategic advantage.
In just a tick, how a group of blokes came up with the Steel Blue brand, now a market leader in safety footwear. That's next.
Hi, I'm Ross Fitzgerald, co-founder and director at Steel Blue. I've got 3 great tips for you that will help you in your business. Don't compromise on quality and comfort. Make sure you use the top quality and best materials for your product and don't build on price. My second tip would be to keep your business and your business plan simple. Don't get caught up in red tape. Don't get caught up in long processes and make sure you get the job done. And my last tip is build solid relationships with your customers and your staff. Nurture those relationships, which will mean you'll build a great foundation for your business.
Now to another entrepreneur who knows all about building a successful business. Catherine Cervasio is the brains behind AROMABABY Natural Skincare. It launched more than 2 decades ago and is going gangbusters, not only here in Australia, but China as well.
I was initially looking at body care for fashion stores, so had quite a love of luxury goods and fashion and publishing and that kind of thing. So it was really going off track for me. But when I became a mother and I did launch the products, first of all, the reception to the products was amazing from retailers, so that was enough to spur me on. But secondly, the feedback from parents, and I think that's the most important thing, in clearing up nappy rash, for example, in helping with eczema where no other product would work, that was just mind-blowing for me. I thought, in my own little way, I'm actually making a difference. A girlfriend took a big hamper of our products to John Travolta in Sydney for some filming. He was here for, I think, Qantas's 90th birthday. And you never know what happens when you gift a celebrity, but he actually took the product home to his wife, Kelly Preston. And a few weeks later, we got a gorgeous thank you note from Kelly. And that was enough. It was really lovely to have the acknowledgement. But I remember going to an event in LA a number of months later, and they were at the event. So I politely introduced myself and I said, thank you so much for sending that lovely letter. And she said, oh, John, this is the lady with the baby products. And they were so happy to meet me. So it was a really lovely full circle experience, I suppose. Obviously, growing a business and having it for 2 decades, there's been numerous challenges, but I'm a pretty positive person and I try and look at them all as a learning experience, even when it's really tough. Things like growth, one export market can add considerably to your turnover. So you've got to consider staff, you've got to consider investment in carrying extra stock. Is your IP protected in those areas? There are so many things. Each country almost has its own set of regulations and rules, and some of those can be barriers to trade. So even though you might think, well, we've got this wonderful lead, perhaps the products need to be registered before you can actually even sell there. Some of the highlights for me personally, apart from the obvious, in that I've had the flexibility and the enjoyment of working around watching two beautiful children grow up. Also, I think getting a contract from a South Korean business partner, that was our first big contract. They actually asked for some sort of an MOU or a memorandum of understanding, or they wouldn't leave. They wanted it in their hands when they left. So I had to go into my office and mock up some sort of a, draft contract and give it to them. So we signed that. And for them, there's a lot of honour in doing the deal and building relationships and handshakes and your word, even though we had a signed document. So I remember that contract was a multi-million-dollar contract at the time, and when they left, I was just jumping up and down in the office with my one staff member thinking, oh my gosh, like it's going to actually change what we're doing. So that was amazing.
Coming up, Ask KOCHIE. You throw me a business question, I'll do my best to answer it.
Augmented reality has been getting a lot of attention lately. So what does it mean, and can it be good for your business? Well, first off, augmented reality is sort of like applying a layer of information to what you see around you. Now, while you can't beam information directly onto your eyeballs, well, at least not yet, you can view an augmented world through the camera in your smartphone, tablet, or computer. An example of this is an astronomy app where you can look at the night sky with the camera, and it then adds the names of constellations and stars to your view, and even they stick to your view as you move the camera around. Augmented reality is also a great way to help your customers experience or visualize your products in a more personalized and realistic way. So by pointing a phone towards their feet, a Nike customer could see how a new pair of shoes would look over their existing ones without ever entering a shoe store. Or how about a new piece of IKEA furniture and how that will look in your living room in amazing 3D detail too, all from the screen of your mobile device or web browser. Consider your business's products and how you could take your customer's experience to the next level through AR. Sell flower arrangements? Imagine letting your customers experience how they'd look on their desks, in their homes, or even a venue they're considering. The possibilities really are endless. The fundamental building blocks for augmented reality are now already built into modern mobile devices. Also, Apple and Google have created special tools for developers with AR Kit and AR Core, so adding AR features to your apps is easier than ever. So why not consider how AR can set your business apart from the competition?
Well, it's my favourite time of the week, Ask KOCHIE. This week, a new business owner got in touch asking how to convert likes on social media to actual sales.
Hi KOCHIE, my name's Samantha. I've just started a new business in cosmetic injectables. The name of the business is called Botox Bar. My question is, how do you convert impressions and likes on social media into actual clients and sales?
Terrific question, Samantha. I get asked this one all the time, so I'm really glad you've sent it in. See, social media offers small business a cost-effective, sometimes free advertising channel for reaching the masses. When done right, it can pay off big time. But it's not as simple or straightforward as just sending a tweet, posting a status, or uploading a photo. So the best thing you can do for your business is to be consistent, have a plan, and measure the results. That's really important. You see, social media lets you build a tribe and constantly develop a relationship with them. Consistently stay on brand. Focus your efforts and be human with your responses so you build an intimate connection so they get to know you. Give your customers a reason to keep coming back is paramount for your bottom line. Give them the value of your expertise. Maybe have regular Facebook or Instagram sales, which are only available online. Makes them feel special. Also, don't try to be a star across all social media channels because it's not always achievable. Your time and resources are often better spent on focusing energy into select channels that are most used by your customers. Now, do some research about the demographics of users of different networks to see what ones line up with your target market. Next comes the analytics. The data and findings from your analytics provide important information for posting more efficiently and also offer insights into new areas of opportunity. Making a genuine impression on a target audience tends to result in increased engagement, which is the key to how you can turn clicks into cash. For a small fee, Facebook also allows you to amplify your post to a target market. You can even choose to target your most engaged users again and again, ensuring every post reaches a potential customer. Now, the best way to find out more about this service, which does come at a cost, is to enroll in a short course on social media marketing. Remember, if done right, it will pay off. So it's worth knowing exactly how to use the social media tools at your disposal. Hope that helps, Samantha. For more ideas on how to get your social media working, go to our website, kochiesbusinessbuilders.com.au. We have all the information there in a lot more detail. Coming up next week, we meet the Small Business Minister, and we do it in his very own family business. I'm going to quiz him for you. And don't forget to join our Facebook Live discussion every Monday from 12:30. So see you next week for more KOCHIE's Business Builders.